raider to spend those money on. If you guys know about it, there was an auction recently for Kabaddi. A player was signed for 55 lakhs, he was a defender. So, yeah, that was Bengaluru Bulls, our local team. But is it wise to spend money on a defender or is it better to spend the money on a raider? So let's have a look. So what is the raid? Let's start with the basics. So as you can see, there's a situation in a gate within a local gate. The orange guy is the raider. So he's gone into the opposition half. That's the middle line. So they are trying to catch him. If he reaches the other side of the court, it's a successful raid. It's a touch. And if they catch him, it's called a catch. It's an unsuccessful raid. Pretty simple. There's one more thing that can happen within a raid, which is a bonus. As you can see here, if the raider goes into the opposition half, deep into the opposition half, and he comes back without being caught, then he gets a bonus point. These are the very simple basics of Kabaddi raid. So yeah, who are the top raiders in Pro Kabaddi? This is the last season's data. These are the top 10 raiders and their points. You see Pardeep Narwal, Rishank, Devadiga and Rohit Kumar. These days, even if you look at the previous season's data, they are not the top raiders. But this season, these three have come in. And Anup Kumar, he is somewhere in 7th best raider and he is current captain of the Indian national team. And he is widely considered to be the best raider in India. But is this enough to decide who is the best raider in the country? No. Raiding is like, how important is raiding to winning? So let's look at that. 70% of the teams will score more raid points, win their games. So it's pretty simple, right? Score more raid points, win the game. It's like cricket. Score more runs, you win the game. The team which scores the most runs wins the game. So raiding is very important. So it's good to have the best batsman in the game. So what are we trying to do here? We are trying to identify undervalued raiders. Not all raiders are given equal opportunities within a game or in an entire season. So we are trying to use the data to identify the misfits. And as I told you, raiding is like batting in cricket. Even in cricket, only the top order batsmen, they get most of the balls. So they score more runs. But a lower order batsman, he may be just as good as a top order batsman, or maybe even better. But unless he gets the balls to play, then you will never know. You can't just look at his runs scored because he doesn't face those many balls. So is there any way we can look at identifying a lower order batsman who can actually perform like a top order batsman? So that's what we are trying to do. So what makes a good raider? Points. Is points enough? No. Then it'll just tell you who have been the best performers. But can we look at who can be better? Who's there out there who has actually performed well but is not there in the limelight? So we look at efficiency in raiding. How efficient is he in his raiding? So how do we identify efficiency now? Then we generally look at something called success rate, which is what you see on the television screens also. So what is success rate? Success rate is the number of successful raids by the total number of raids that a raider has gone for. So if he's gone for around 10 raids and he's successful in 7 of them, he has 70% success rate. But again, these are the same top 10 raiders sorted on their success rates. Rishank Devadiga, who was second best in points, he is number 1, Rohit Kumar is 3. But if you look at the bottom, it's Anup Kumar, who is again, as I told you, considered the best raider, and the center line that you see, the 30% line, that's the average success rate of all the raiders in Kabaddi. And he's exactly average. The stats say he's just average raider, but is it so? Let's dig deeper. There's something called an empty raid conundrum. What is this? So, again, as I told you about a touch, a catch and a bonus, something else happens in Kabaddi which is called an empty raid. A raider can go into the opposition half, not do anything and come back. It's just empty. It counts for nothing. If you look at that, Anup Kumar, 58% of his raids are empty. So his success rate will obviously be low because he goes and does nothing in the raids and he comes back. But important thing to be noted is that he does not get out. It's not unsuccessful either. These are just empty. So these empty raids are polluting our results. If we just look at success rate, then you will consider Anup Kumar to be a mediocre raider. But if you dig deeper, then you will see, okay, there's something which we are missing, which we are not considering. So we look at success rate without empty raids. We need to remove this factor. This is corrupting our data. our analysis. So we subtract empty rates. It's very simple. What we do is we calculate something called success rate without empty rates, SRE. So what it is, we just remove the empty rates from the denominator. So the same example, if, okay, let's take a simpler example. So if there are 10 rates, he has 3 successful rates, 3 empty rates and 4 unsuccessful rates. Then what we do is we just remove the 3 empty rates and we just do a 3 by 7. So he has 10 rates, 3 are successful, 4 empty and 3 are failed. If we just look at success rate for this, then it will be 3 on 10, around 30%. But if we look at his empty rate percent is 40%, but his SRE would be 3 by 10 minus 4, which is 3 by 6, which is 50%. So this gives you a better measure of a radar after removing the corrupting factor, that's the empty rates. So if we do that, then we look at Anup Kumar, he moves up to the 3rd best radar. And people like Surjit Singh and Rishank Devadiga, who was number 1 in the previous one, he comes down to the 8th best radar in the division. Is there anything else we are missing also? Can we dig deeper? So yeah, there's one more factor called the do-or-die rate. So it's also called the rate 3. So what happens in do-or-die rate is this, as I told you about the empty rate, they have a rule in Kabaddi, so that people just don't go there, do nothing and come back. If they keep doing that, then it's boring. It's like a test match. They want to reduce the duration, make it more fun. Test match is fun, but yeah, that's when there's IPL also. Yeah. So what happens is if raider goes for 3 empty rates, 3 consecutive empty rates, then the raider is declared out and the opposition is given a point and they even have a revival. So it's a high stakes rate. If the empty rate becomes unsuccessful, then it's, they usually lose a point and they get a revival and there's no empty, you can't make it an empty rate also. So it's a very important rate. And what happens is, since it's a very important rate, the defenders, what they do is they go back into their defense, they go deeper into their defense and they lure the raider in. And when the raider is deep enough, they pounce on him and they catch him. So it's generally harder to score points on a raid 3, on a do-or-die raid. So again, if we just go back to we look at the previous slide, we don't look at it. There may be people in this list who are going exclusively for those raid 3 raids. Again, those are the tougher raids, and if we don't give them enough weightage or value for that, then again, we are not doing the complete thing. We have to dig deeper. So how tough is raid 3? So if you look at its success rate, based on rates, in first, second and third rates, in first and second it's around 26%. But in the third rate it's 45%. That's because there's no empty rates. It's either successful or unsuccessful. If you see this, out of the 100%, 57 to 60% is empty. That's why the success is 26 is lower. That's what, if you look at if you remove the corruption metric empty, and you look at SRE, you see the success rate around 64 to 65% in raid 1 and raid 2, but in raid 3 it drops down to 45%. So raid 3 is actually harder to score points on. So how do we eliminate this effect and better the raider's ability? So there's a lot of maths involved, but yeah, not a lot also, but just a little bit division and multiplication and addition. Yeah. We try and normalize the player's ability with the league average. So what do I mean? Let's have a step-by-step look. Step 1, calculate SRE of raiders across rates. We have just taken 3 raiders here, and grand total is your overall league average. So in raid 1, for example, if you look at Anup Kumar, his SRE in raid 1 is 78%, raid 2 is 82, and raid 3 is 33. So his raid 3 performance is pretty poor. But if you look at Yang Kun Lee, his raid 1 and raid 2 are mediocre in the sense, yeah, it's still better than the average, but it's worse than Anup Kumar's. But his raid 3 performance is pretty good. So if you compare Anup Kumar and Yang Kun Lee is going for the tougher raids and is scoring better in the tougher raids. And he is just as good as Anup Kumar in raid 1 and raid 2, just a little bit difference. So is there any way we can make sure that Yang Kun Lee actually gets better points? Is there any scoring system where we can assign points to these also. So that's what we try to do. So now we compare it to the league average. We just find the difference. For example, for Anup Kumar, we just subtract 78 and 64. It's 13 because of the roundups. Same, we do it for rate 1, rate 2, rate 3, and for all the 3 players for the 9 boxes in the table. Okay, this again does not tell us much. Let's see what else you can do with this. So we normalize this difference. What do I mean? So we just take this particular difference, divide it with the average of the league. So what that would give us is a multiplying factor, kind of something like a multiplying factor. You say a person is 3 percentage points better, does not give us much, but if we say he's 2 times better than average, then you know, okay, it's a better way of looking at a player. So we find that for each and every rate at a rate level, and then we sum it up, and we get a final value, which we call it the Shred score. So, yeah, for example, over here, this 0.20 comes when we divide this 13% percentage points by the 64 percentage points for the league average. So we get 0.2. And similarly, we do it across rates for all the 9, and we do it for each and every raider in the league. And we sum it up and we get a single score called the Shred score. If you look at that, Anup Kumar is around minus 0.31 times worse than the league average. He's not even as good as the average raider in the league in rate 3s, but he's 0.2 and 0.26 times better than an average raider in the league in rates 1 and 2. So we sum it up, we get a score, and the score we use to judge a raider. So as for this Shred score for the best raiders. So the top 10 are here. The number 1 is Nitin Tomar. If you look at his rank based on points scored, he's number 6, and on success rate he's number 4. But his Shred score is 0.8. There's one more person we spoke about, which is Manjeet Chillar. Most of you spoke about him. When we asked about the best player, you spoke about Manjeet Chillar. He was nowhere on our entire analysis. He wasn't the top 10 point scorer. Even in success rate, he is not not there in the top 10. But if you look at this Shred score, his quality comes through. You know how good he is. Similarly, if we look at Amit Rathi here, he was picked up by Bengaluru Bulls this time around for this season. Even his rank on point scored and success rate is pretty mediocre, but again, he's considered a top 10 raider in this. So these kind of scores will help you identify a good raider. And in the auction will be a smart way to put your money on these guys. Not everyone will be looking at these people. No one's going to be bidding on Amit Rathi. For example, this season, Bengaluru Bulls signed him and no one bid for him. There was no competition for him at all. They got him at the base price. So similar to that, there are a lot of players we can deep dive on, we can have a look at based on the other metrics. So yeah, we can do something similar for defenders also. Yeah, that's it for now. Thank you. Within a game, no, he can take any number of raises. It's like a batsman, he can just bat for the entire game. Okay.
If the same guy goes in all the time, he gets a roughly around 10 or 200 right from it.
Okay. Yeah.
So when we're evaluating the entire team based on that rate, we have the evaluation justify because the other guys are not from getting the right.
Exactly.
So how are you going to evaluate other players who are not getting the right?
That's exactly what we are doing. If we are just looking at those rate points, then we would have to go to the first slide where we just look at the table, where who are the top 10 points scored. Then we look at those 10. If I can go to the first slide. If we just do that, then we'll get this. That's what I'm trying to do here. So if you, let me get back to the same table and tell you a few examples. Over here, if you look at, let's say, Silvermoney. Silvermoney, he plays for Delhi. He does not get a lot of chances. Their main raider is this guy called Kashiling Arake. He's not there in the top 20. But if you have looked at the first table, he'll be there. He was, I think, the 7th best raider. Until now, for all the 3 seasons, he scored the most number of points. So this guy does not even get the chances, but still, that's our job to identify him. That's exactly what we are trying to do, and the analysis for that.
Something like strike rate.
Yeah, it's something like strike rate. Exactly.
Such numbers, combined to the channel. For example, success rate is one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
So the 50 guys,
Yeah.
he get 0.5.
Yep.
Okay, if there is an instance where he get 2 by 3 as a number,
Uh-huh.
success rate is 2, and overall 950 is the success rate.
Yeah.
We get 0.6.
Yes.
So the number 0.6 is much better than 0.5.
True.
So the other is the 2 players would be different.
Uh-huh.
One will get 0.5, and another will get 0.6.
Yes.
Then I think the guy who was renting for 2 rides and got 1 success, 0.5 is much better than 3
See, again,
Okay, one sec. Srinath, before you answer, one sec. Hey, can you just take it offline, please? Because we have that. He'll always be there. He'll always be there. So you can always catch him. You can give to someone else who want to take one more question. And again, because we come to the end of it, end of the session, so you can always catch him after this time. Any more questions over here?
I think the point what he's trying to make is the minimum number of games that you
Yes.
can have.
Yeah, the sample size. That's what I was going to say.
When you talk about your third raid,
Yeah.
okay, I think the point he's trying to make is the guy's done one raid,
Mm-hmm.
he's been successful, they're showing 100%.
True.
Whereas there's another guy who's done 15,
Yeah.
probably has more successes, but so if you look at percentages,
Mhm.
the picture can actually
True.
be skewed at times.
Yeah. So,
If you have a minimum threshold, say these many number of, and then you do an analysis on that and base it on number, I think that makes it challenge.
Okay, so basically, even in cricket, it's the same scenario. Strike rate is not the only performance indicator for any batsman. Like you said, a player playing one ball and hitting a six, he will have a higher strike rate than any other player. So, in coaching methodology, there is one more performance indicator. Strike rate plus the average. So, there is a benchmark set to it, whether that player falls under that category or not. That's how I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so given cricket you have something like minimum 50 matches. Before you do a ranking, you have to say minimum 50 matches.
No,
Yes.
matches played matters for the sample size. In one match, if he is playing 200 balls, that's more than 50. For
Same when you have this ranking, you also have the threshold saying that the player has to have played at least minimum 20 matches. You're comparing averages.
yeah, in this particular analysis, we have actually had a threshold. It's of 10 rates, a minimum of 10 rates that the rater has taken. So yeah, a sample size is very important. You can't just look at 3 players that have gone for 1 rate. If I actually look at this, after removing this, there will be a guy called J. Bahadur Shastri or something, who has 100% success rate. His score comes up around 3 and the next best is 0.8. So yeah, those kind of things are taken care of. When you look at a big enough sample, then all these statistical conclusions will be removed. So that's something we'll also take care of.
Thanks, Srinath. Thanks a lot. Fantastic work on your analysis. So this is what it